My dear sister, Monica Geingos, thank you for making it to this memorable time for our foundation. It's been a long time. And thank you to proving to these people that spouses of presidents can also have talents. We can reconvert ourselves. We are not, as you could see, I think she was inspired by the play that, the Arborescence, and don't be surprised if next time we decide to, herself and I, come up with another play among ourselves. Your Excellency, Mrs. Roman Tesfaye, former First Lady of Ethiopia, Excellencies, Ambassadors, Honorable Ministers, esteemed partners and friends of Imbuto, distinguished guests, and Sirwa Youth Connect champion nominees, valued members of staff of Imbuto Foundation, ladies and gentlemen, Ngiriweho, good evening, et bonsoir à tous. Quel trajet nous avons parcouru ensemble. Merci d'y avoir cru, merci d'avoir accepté de prendre part dans cette belle aventure. It's such a joy to be here tonight, celebrating 20 years of service to Rwandan communities. It looked like everything good happened in 2001, as Fode said. 2 decades of progress in youth empowerment, education, and health certainly call for festivity. The journey was not always sunny. In fact, it began amidst a storm. And yet, we are here today with the sun back in our hearts, as a light within that will keep guiding us along the way ahead. When I think of Imbuto in earlier PACFA coming to life, I see the fulfilling of a moral obligation. C'est comme si la piste avait été tracée pour nous. Je pense que les femmes qui m'ont soutenu dans cette entreprise l'ont ressenti autant que moi. Notre ambition était et reste non négociable. Les Rwandais méritent des familles en bonne santé. It seemed a revolutionary notion amidst all the disease and vulnerability that 1994 had amplified. That premature, preventable death should no longer be a constant shadow, following mothers on their way to work, welcoming children as they are born, seemed unattainable with our financial means of the time. Untreated HIV had decimated entire families. There is no silver lining to disease. There is no upside to death or to suffering. But in the pursuit of eradicating the cause of the ache, a robber of joy, dignity, and independence, a path may appear. Distinguished guests, what we are celebrating here today is not a feat of charity, but rather the fulfilling of a duty. The mission that drove Imbuto from the very beginning and birth PACFA 20 years ago was not glory, it was responsibility. Un proverbe africain dit que celui qui a planté un arbre n'a pas vécu inutilement. et pour nous citoyens d'un pays qui s'est battu pour sa continuité au prix de la vie d'innombrables compatriotes braves et engagés, vivre inutilement ne pourrait être une option, ni un choix digne. Half a decade after the genocide, the soil of the rich land all Rwandans could finally claim was ripe for fertilizing. The first seed to be planted needed to show precedence. It had to become a robust, deeply rooted tree that would bear fruits so long as the people needed to eat from it. For this, there was no roadmap. And by my side was simply women. Women whose determination I could hardly quantify in a speech twice as long. For these women would not count the hours nor spare the efforts, and the seed was laid in our hands. Today, we celebrate these women. Je vous remercie pour votre générosité, votre passion et votre courage. Babyeyi twatangiranye uru rugendo, turabashimira urugwiro, ubwitange n'umutima wa kibyeyi byabaranze. Excellencies, partners, and friends, as you know, the protection and the care of family against HIV and AIDS, PACFA, combated the idea that financial means should define access to treatment against the disease. And the quest behind this initiative was a pursuit and a reclaiming of the humanity that so much conflict and loss had attempted to rob from us. Science has shown that an HIV-positive life in dignity, as we witnessed with SAGE, as a productive and autonomous member of society was perfectly attainable. Nous le devions aux Rwandais. La graine fut notre vision et notre fondation son outil, conçue par des membres et des partenaires dévoués et façonnée par la confiance de nos bénéficiaires. Et l'autonomie que le gouvernement du Rwanda nous a accordée nous a permis de choisir nos combats et de concevoir nos propres solutions. Et cette liberté a créé les conditions idéales pour que notre graine germe et fleurisse. Ndagira ngo namwe bayobozi muri hano tubashimire ubushishozi n'icyerekezo mwatweretse. Ladies and gentlemen, the family package, our first project, saw the light in 2001 in Kakiru, not far from here. Challenging as its implementation seemed, it was merely an inspiration to the many diverse initiatives that have since stemmed from Imbuto. The vision behind our shift from PACFA to Imbuto was simple: a harmonious model that can cater to the different stages of the life cycle. Our DNA is our ability to reinvent ourselves and adapt to an ever-changing landscape, but our soul remains intact. Imbuto strives to engage, educate, and empower our communities. Esteemed guests, 20 is quite the milestone, even to those of us that have had many more birthdays, probably 3 times this one. And I thank my sister Monica, who thinks that years have not changed me. For our youth, it's fresh adulthood. For the progress of developing nations, it's a lifetime. And for Imbuto, it has been a voyage of much greater numbers. The 5,000 best performing teenage girls rewarded and mentored over the past decade and a half are now valued contributors to our society, and some have become part of our backbone, working for the Imbuto mission as full-time staff members. Over 60 Over 60,000 children aged 6 and younger have been enrolled into model and home-based ECD and family centers. Dozens of youth forum series have housed crucial conversations among thousands of future trailblazers. Mais les chiffres les plus significatifs, chers amis, n'ont pas encore été réellement enregistrés, car ils constituent nos futures victoires. Ces chiffres reflèteront l'impact de nos efforts sur le développement durable de notre pays. Distinguished guests, tonight in partnership with the Ministry of Youth and Culture, we are also recognizing the accomplishments of a new cohort of Sirwa and Youth Connect awardees who joined the ranks of other inherent go-getters. Looking at the mountains our beneficiaries have moved thus far with your help, reversing trends of poverty and lack of education to become accomplished militant professionals that enhance many Rwandan industries, I see no limit to their potential. But to allow this potential to bloom in the decades coming, your help is needed. So ladies and gentlemen, I request this of you tonight. In all the humbleness that being blessed with this successful journey has granted me, keep believing in us, invest in us, partner with us, return to us with the knowledge you have acquired along your academic adventures and social discoveries. Water our garden, and it will remain a haven for Rwandan communities for as long as God allows it. I welcome the UN family to garden our foundation as well. Words might not do justice to my elation in celebrating these 20 years with you, but I will try. This verse by the late Maya Angelou. We need joy as we need air. We need love as we need water. We need each other as we need the earth we share. Esteemed guests, I invite you to share my joy tonight. Batumirwa bahire, mbifurije gukomeza kugira umugoroba mwiza. Demain, nous construirons, et ce soir, nous dansons. Let's celebrate tonight.